Hey y'all, it's been a minute and welcome back to another video. This time is going to be a simple video where I just make a tier list of all the jobs in Final Fantasy 3. I feel like since I've been playing the game for so long, I figured I'd make one of these. Granted, this is just my personal opinion. Your tier list might look different, and again, you play the game how you want to play the game. So first up, we got, well, this one's given. Onion Knight. Onion Knight is basically the worst and the best job in the game. It starts off terrible. Worst stats, worst level up stats. Yeah, stats. They're terrible until you get to level 99. Once you get to level 99, this class is busted. And once you also collect the onion set, like onion sword, armor, shield, forget about it. This will ruffle stomp the game. Although that does happen at the end of the game, so you don't get access to that till like you are basically at the end game. Next up, Warrior. I would put Warrior on B tier. Pretty mid, pretty basic. It definitely helps that it's at the beginning of the game. Second, Monk. B tier. Same thing. Pretty good stats. Highest vitality in the game. Well, at least in the beginning. It does give you that extra HP when you level up, so that's nice. And they can do a lot of damage. Next is Black Mage. I'm gonna give Black Mage on a B tier. Black Mage is fragile, like some people's egos, but it can carry a nice bang with magic. It is very useful for exploiting elemental weaknesses. Next up, White Mage. A tier, hands down. Having a healer in any party, in any game is nice, and you probably can't beat a game without one. I mean, technically you can, but a white mage can't carry the team. Red mage is C tier because while having access to black and white magic in one job might seem good, it can only learn up to level 5 spells, which is not that big of a deal, but it also has low magic usage than white mage and black mage. And for disclaimer, I didn't say it before, white mage and black mage can learn spells up to level 7. Next up, Ranger. I believe this is the Ranger. Ranger, C tier. They don't offer much besides being able to attack for full damage in the back row. That's about it. Next, Knight. Knight is A tier. I would say high A tier. Close to White Mage. Knight is basically like a better version of Warrior. It has guard, so you can reduce damage while covering for allies whose HP are low. And they're basically your tanks, which we'll talk about that later on. Thief, A tier. Scram is a good ability to run away from battle, because running away from battle is very difficult in this game, especially when the turn orders feel very random. Plus, steal is a nice bonus when you're trying to collect damage inducing items. Scholar, D tier. Sorry, this is a very niche class. The only purpose of this class is to help you against the fight against Hien, and that's it. Which really, you don't even need a scholar for that fight. Up next, Geomancer. Geomancer is going to be C tier. A job that sounds really cool on paper, but it's basically outclassed by Black Mage. So at this point in the game, you're better off just skipping a Black Mage. A Voker is next. I believe this is the Voker. Please don't harass me if it's not, but feel free to let me know I'm wrong. Evokers are D tier because they're a weaker version of Summoner, and Evoker, while they can summon things, it is random. Like half the time you summon something and it will do 0 damage. They'll just apply a buff and no damage. Sometimes they will do damage. At this point, you're just better off waiting for Summoner. Next up, Bard. I believe this is the Bard. Bard is going to be C tier. It's a job that you kind of experiment with to get some buff. Other than that, you're better off just having, if you want some buffs / support, you're better off going with White Mage. But other than that, it can be fun to use. Viking is next, and this one is also A tier. I will put it like probably next to Knight. There we go. And the reason why I believe they're A tier is they are also tanks. While they don't have cover, they can redirect attack to themselves. Not very useful if the thing you're fighting has AoE moves, aerial effect like party wipe, damage, because it won't work. But when it works, it gets the job done. Next up, Dark Knight. No, wait, that's not Dark Knight. That's Dragoon. Dark Knight. There we go. C tier. I'm gonna put you like at the beginning of C tier. While it is a very strong class and it sounds very cool and edgy, I feel like you get Dark Knight early in the game. And by that, I mean, so you get Dark Knight, but Dark Knight can't equip weapons or anything that you currently have. You start getting equipments for Dark Knight later on the game, which is kind of underwhelming. It does have one job, and it's to help you go through one dungeon where enemies can multiply. Up next, Black Belt. This is A tier. I'm gonna put it high A tier. This is basically a upgraded version of Monk. Not much to say. Dragoon, A tier. It helps you defeat Garuda, which is one of the bosses that you'll struggle in a normal playthrough. They do good damage when you give them 2 Bloodlands and just spam jump, because they will heal a lot of HP back. Up next, Devout. This one, I'm going to put it on A tier, borderline S tier. So you know what? We're gonna put you at the front. Devout is basically a improved White Mage. Enough said. Magus is up next. This one, I'm gonna put it in A tier. It's just a stronger Black Mage, and using high level spells in this game or any other game is just satisfying. So flashy and makes you feel good. Summoner is next. This one, I'll put in B tier. The reason why it's B tier, it is upgraded version of Evoker, but the only problem it has is summons are very limited on how many you can use. But it is really good dealing with random encounters. Alright, we're reaching the end. Thought this video was going to be shorter. I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna edit it to be shorter. Up next, Ninja. This is S tier, hands down. They do insane amount of damage. They can equip every weapon in the game, I believe, but the Onion Sword, which is understandable. And if you can afford it, you can buy shurikens and do massive amount of damage. Next, the last one is Sage. Sage is basically your caster that can learn everything. White magic, black magic, summon magic. You can build a Sage however you like. If you want a Sage to do white magic and summon magic, you can do that. Black magic and summon magic, go ahead. Most of the times it is used just to use white magic, but you can go wild. You can do whatever you want. There you have it. That's my own personal tier list for every job in Final Fantasy 3. If you like this video and stay till the end, I appreciate you. Why not consider subscribing while you're at it? And I would appreciate that. Let me know what your favorite job and favorite party comp in Final Fantasy 3 is. That's it. Bye-bye.